I'm so glad you found my channel, Sweet Uniquities, where everything I do here is always sweet and custom for an event, making it a true uniquity. Today we're going to do something so special for Christmas. We are making Christmas Ornament Cupcake Toppers. So let's jump into today's project. I'm very excited about today's project because I truly believe your return on investment for the time you put in is truly spectacular and time well spent. This project is something that you can do now and save the toppers, and in a couple of weeks when you have your parties or your events that you need to do a sweet little gift for, all you'll have to do is either buy cupcakes or make your cupcakes and put these beautiful toppers on there, and people are going to be so happy to receive these. I think the first thing you're going to need is some fondant. And I chose the 4-color primary set by Wilton. I really wanted to give this a nostalgic feel, like the traditional glass ball ornaments that I grew up with and still have on my tree today. And so those colors are going to be just perfect. The next thing that I feel you're going to need for this project is some disco dust. And we'll talk more about disco dust. It's kind of controversial in the cake decorating world. So we're going to talk about that here in just a little bit. But I feel that this non-toxic glitter just really elevates the look of these toppers. Now, depending on your time constraints of the holiday, as well as your skill level, there are so many ways you can customize these little customize your ornament for your gift recipients. So you have choices. You never have to do these just the way I'm doing them, but I'm going to do them in one of the most simple manners because I think they're just so beautiful, just sparkly. And then the last thing that's kind of different that you're going to need is something to give your ball ornament the concave shape. So I use these these are not technically drying molds. I will put some different options online, and maybe even I can find these still. These were by Wilton, and I think these are kind of like pre-silicone mold. These were for candy. But I use these all the time for fondant to dry. I use these for like different sports balls, basketball, volleyball, whatever, baseball. I use them a lot of times to make balloons or to just give a concave shape when I don't want my topper to be completely flat. So we're gonna get started on this. I think you're gonna love this project and the simplicity of it, and here we go. So it's going to be important to realize that when you are rolling out your fondant, and you're going to want to add some Tylose or CMC powder to your fondant, work that in, roll it out, and then you're going to use a round circle cutter to make the shape of the cupcake topper. It is going to be important to realize that you need a larger diameter than what the top of the cupcake actually is. So for example, this is a jumbo cupcake. This is going to be the size that I roll out the topper for it. So you can kind of see it's quite a bit bigger. For a standard size cupcake, this is the size that I use. So, okay. So just to kind of give you that idea, you're going to need a larger diameter. Now, if you don't want to do a larger diameter and you just want to make these the same size as the tops of your cupcakes, and you want them to be flat and you're not going to concave them, that is totally fine. But if you want to concave them, the concave itself is going to take up a portion of the size. So that's why I make them larger than the surface of the cupcake. So I'm going to go ahead and roll these out, and then I'll show you what it looks like. All right, so I have cut out my circle, and then I have put it into my little mold. And it's going to be important that you make sure that when you turn it over, that you don't see any like gaps or air holes. And you'll know what I mean when you see them if you have them. But that way, just press it gently. You don't want to like pack it down in there where it's stuck in there, but you just kind of want to tap it in there so that you're going to get that nice true curvature on the concave. So this will need to dry overnight for sure. You do not want to try to work with these until they are dry, because if you take them out, they will start to you'll start to lose that shape that you have originally. So we're going to want to let these dry really well. I also did a jumbo size one as well, and I've got it in there. Just be careful if you have long fingernails that you're not like putting divots in your fondant. Just try to be real careful and use the pads of your fingers. So I'm going to keep working on the other colors, and then we're going to come back and we are going to show you, once they're all dry, how amazing and sparkly we can make them. So while our toppers are drying, I thought this would be a great opportunity for me to share with you a bit about our controversial disco dust. Disco dust is a non-toxic, non-FDA approved food gradish type of medium that is truly intended to be an accent on baked goods, cake designs, what have you. And I just think there's no better way to get such a beautiful shine and shimmer than to use disco dust. They're very expensive. They run average about $5.25 per little container. I have a small fortune in disco dust. I think I have probably almost every color that you can purchase, but I just truly love it, and I just use it in so many different ways. But I do think it's important that when you use disco dust that you disclose to your guests or to the gift recipient of the baked good that there is something on there that is not FDA approved for as a food, but it is non-toxic, and you may want to just include a little note that maybe topper is not meant to be ingested. Now, think about it this way. If I said to you, envision what chocolate cake tastes like. All of you are going to be like, cool, I got it. I love chocolate cake, except my friend Pam, who doesn't like chocolate. I don't understand that, but we love her anyway. You understand that, you think of it. But you can also, most of us can identify with, if I said, envision like paste, crayons, Play-Doh, paper. Yes, I ate paper too. When I was a kid in Miller County, it was not uncommon for me to, on occasion, ingest these things because kids do weird things. And so they're non-toxic items. They're not things that are going to be very harmful if you eat a little bit. I mean, they don't taste good. So generally you get a little bit in your mouth and you're like, except the paper. I really liked paper. Just keep that in mind, that, those things are non-toxic. They're not made to be food items, but sometimes, however, whyever, people will ingest them, and that is what it is. When it comes to glitter, if you think about, okay, what does glitter taste like? Most of us have never scooped up a spoonful of glitter and put it in our mouth. That's just icky, and mainly it's because of the texture. Most of us don't desire that, flaky, kind of sharp, plasticky taste. And so most people who would take a bite of fondant that is coated in disco dust, those people are not going to take more than one bite because that texture is just bizarre, and it's not something that we crave as a human, right? So most people, it won't be an issue. But again, it's not toxic. It is kind of food gradish, if you will. These are made by food like companies that manufacture other baking products like the CMC powder, Sea Cake, they make disco dust and so forth. There's lots of different brands. I will link all of that in the description below. So if you're interested in disco dust, there's also a new one that I have not participated in yet. I just saw it on my Instagram feed and thought that was timely. But it is apparently FDA approved as a food substance. So that might be a route you would prefer. And if I can find it, I will link it as well, so you have that as well. But I just don't know that you're going to get the shimmer that you get with disco dust. It's just phenomenal. I mean, seriously. So that's all I want to say on that. If you have comments, feel free. I mean, this is kind of, like I said, People are very passionate about, you know, whether or not you should use, you know, disco dust and stuff in the cake decorating world. And I doubt that anybody that is a highly skilled baker is probably going to be watching my channel. But I would love it if they did. But, you know, feel free to leave a comment, because I welcome any comments, because at this point I get very few comments. I would love you to say hi. Or, you know, don't use disco dust, you're the devil, whatever. But I'm going to use it. I'm going to tell my people that I give it to or use it for what it's about, and then they can make the decision whether or not they want to use it on the products or if they want to ingest it. So anyway, Merry Christmas. That's disco dust. So my ornaments are all dry and hard, and I know right now they look a lot more like a circus than they do a Christmas ball, but trust me, once we add that disco dust to these, they are going to look fantastic. Normally I would use a type of edible adhesive that I make with CMC or Tylose powder, but I thought it would be great for you all to go to the store and be able to pick something up without having to try to figure out how to do that. So first time ever using Wilton's Dab and Hold. It's kind of spendy. It was like $7 or $8, but I used my coupon, you know, still $4 or $5 was kind of a lot, but there's a lot in here and you really don't need much. What we're going to do is I'm going to thin this down with a very small amount of inexpensive vodka. You probably don't have to do that. I just don't want it very thick. I just need a small, just a little thin layer of adhesive so that the glitter will stick. You don't want the top of your ornament to be sopping wet. You just want it to be completely covered, however, because if you leave a spot without the adhesive, then when you add the glitter and you need to go back, it just doesn't really work well. So you want this, you got one shot, put the adhesive over, the dab and hold over it, right the first time, and then glitter the ball, and it will be awesome. Once that is drying, once the glitter is drying, what I will do is I'm gonna make some little ornament holders to place on the Christmas ball so that it looks more like an actual Christmas ball than just a sparkly glitter cupcake topper. So I'm excited about that. One thing that I find helpful when working with disco dust is using printer paper, and I've got several sheets here, one for each color. And so whenever I'm glittering the topper, the sheet of paper will gather the glitter, and then it's very easy to put a hard crease in it so that you can pour the excess back into the container and reuse the glitter. Like I said, the glitter is very expensive, but it goes a long ways, and by saving what you don't use, you can reuse those portions by pouring it back into the container. There was one other thing about the glitter. It's escaped me. So anyway, so we'll get started on that. Oh, sometimes in the past I've used like wax paper underneath, and the glitter kind of attaches, I think from maybe some static. So the paper truly is the best route to go. Don't be tempted to use parchment's better than wax, but wax is not great for recycling your disco dust. So that's what I wanted to share. So I'm gonna get started on glittering these, and then we'll be almost finished with our beautiful Christmas ball ornaments. So while the glitter is drying on the balls, we are going to make the little topper. So if you look at an actual ornament, you can see you have kind of a round circle, kind of thick. You have some indentions, and then you have a little round spot on top that you can hang the ornament on the tree. So we're going to try to recreate that to some degree. So I made one here. I don't think that it's too terribly bad. This is just going to be a template, if you will, for size. I think that size looks pretty good for the smaller standard size cupcake toppers. So but for my one that's for the jumbo, it's a little small. So you're gonna wanna just figure out it looks a little dinky. So what you're gonna just do is, I'm using yellow because I'm going to paint these gold, but you can do them any color you want. You can paint them if you want. You don't have to paint them if you don't want to. You don't even need the holder. If you're in a hurry, the sparkly ornament ball without a holder is going to look amazing. So it's up to you. But I just took a little bit of fondant in yellow. I'm rolling it around in my fingers like that so that It kind of presses down. I have kind of a round ball shape. Let's see if this size looks about right. Oops, it's a little lopsided. But I do think that it's kind of the right size for the ball. So what I'm gonna do now is take my knife, and this is a knife that I got at the Dollar Tree on my Dollar Tree haul. If you watched that, thanks. If you didn't, I have it linked down below. The Cake Boss items are no longer available, so I'm sorry, but everything else is still there. So just take your fondant and put some fairly deep divots in it. It is going to change the diameter, but then you can kind of squeeze it back into the round shape. So as you press it in, it kind of changes the diameter a little bit. So I'm gonna try to get it more round again, but if you can see, I don't know that you can. Oh, maybe Santa will bring me some better equipment. So anyway, oh, there you can kind of see it. There you go. You can kind of see the divots in it. So on the top of this, I'm going to put 2 little holes. Oh dear. I'm gonna put 2 little holes and kind of press it down, actually just kind of a line. So I'm putting a line in the top with just a whatever you want to, on the end of a paintbrush. This is a fondant tool. And then we're going to make the round circle part that goes on top of the holder. So how you do that is, I have just some yellow fondant again. I'm going to roll it flat, have it rolled flat. And then I'm going to take some piping tips, and I'm going to use those as my circles to give me the circle. So I think, I don't really know. We're gonna use the larger, this is a number 12. So that is the start of it. Okay. And then I'm going to take, and I'm gonna pull this in closer, so hang tight. I've got a smaller one here. So the outside circle was a 12. And then the inside of the circle, this is a 7. But you can use whatever. But when I press the 7 into the 12, it gives me a little loop. Isn't that cute? It's like a little spaghetti-o. So then I'm going to take that. I'm going to use my little Dab and Hold from Wilton. This is proving to be quite useful today. I'm gonna put a little bit on the end of whatever, toothpick, whatever. I'm gonna put it down in the line. And I'm gonna put my little spaghetti-o inside, oops, in there so that it can dry. And it may not be perfect, but it's gonna be cute. So there you go. There's your little ornament holder that will hang it on the tree. So now I'm going to paint my ornament holders. I'm going to paint them gold. And I keep a running container of gold. I use highlighter, which is truly not edible. It is supposed to be meant for strictly detail. I have some luster dust and I have some Rolkin Special Gold. I kind of mix them together to get the color that I want, and I keep it because when I add the vodka to take the powders to a paintable consistency, as it dries, the vodka evaporates and you're left with the powder. So rather than throw this out, I just keep this, and I always reuse this whenever I need gold. So I am going to add a little bit of vodka, and I'm gonna paint my little topper, and I'm going to then use the the little Wilton glue tab, what was it called? I forget what it's called, but anyway, to attach it to the ornament. So here I go. So you just kind of add it. You can kind of get it to paint consistency, you'll know what kind of, how much vodka to add based on the texture. You don't want it super thin, but you also don't want it too thick. If it's too thick, it's chunky. So you just want a beautiful, I'll show you. Ooh, oh gosh. I don't know that you can see that, but it's seriously so pretty. After you paint the little holder gold, let those dry and then attach to the top of the ball ornament with some edible glue. The result is simply spectacular. I know everyone on your Christmas list will be so excited to receive such sparkly little gems. So have a sweet and unique day. Merry Christmas from Sweet Uniquities, and I look forward to seeing you on the next video. Please consider subscribing and liking this video.